Hello and welcome to the Talk Villa podcast. I'm your host Samit Paul, and in today's episode we are taking a look back at Aston Villa's 2-1 win over Leeds this past weekend. A second half double from Morgan Rogers inspired our comeback after we really struggled to get going in the first half, but it was another stunning free kick that helped us on our way to securing all 3 points. As with every game, I'll be discussing my 5 key talking points as we have a deeper dive into the Leeds game. But first, let's have a listen to Unai Emery and his thoughts on our win as he spoke to Villa TV after the game.
Good evening. Yes, we had the challenge in this match, how we were coming back after our break and how we performed last month, getting very very big wins against the better team in the Premier League, Tottenham, Manchester City, Bournemouth. But how we were able to show again our capacity to be consistent and away compete like we did, progressively better, the second half better, but overall in 90 minutes I'm so happy how we compete, even the first half. And we didn't play brilliant, but we were always trying to set our game plan on the field, and progressively we did it. And how we after we played away 5 matches, we only won 1 match against Tottenham. Another 4 matches we drew 2 and we lost 2. And today was the challenge. If we were able to get the average more or less, thinking in 38 matches how we can finish today in the table for our ambitious objective to be in the top position in the table. And we did it, and I am so proud of the players, of course, thankful for the supporters, because they were pushing us and they were helping us and they traveled here to be with us. And I think we could help to be happy then as well. And now is keep going, and of course happy, and of course to analyze now the match, trying to get as well deeply everything we did, but I can analyze now overall the match and progressively how we played today, how we did the competitive way today. I'm so happy.
That was Unai Emery speaking to Villa TV after our 2-1 win over Leeds. So on to my 5 key talking points then, and we'll start with the match-winning hero himself, Morgan Rogers. As I say, Villa did struggle in the first half. I thought we were second best to Leeds throughout it. We struggled to find any rhythm in our play. We lacked even a hint of quality as we couldn't really get going in a miserable opening 45 minutes. The conditions were difficult. I think the ball was sticking in the turf, and so playing our way out from the back was difficult. But I think the aggression and the press from the Leeds players made life very uncomfortable for the players, and we didn't deal with that particularly well. So that was a problem going into the half-time break. But Rogers, I think if a single individual encapsulates Villa's turnaround over the past couple of months, it would have to be Morgan Rogers. After such a rough start to the season where he was really struggling to find any sort of form, he looked drained of confidence and belief. He was backed by Unai Emery throughout to play his way out of that, and he produced a decisive match-winning display on Sunday as his own personal recovery gathers pace. Now, I would admit that he is still pushing to reach his best level. I don't think he's anywhere near that yet. Yes, he's scoring goals, but I think overall you can see glimpses of the touch and the turn of pace and things like that returning. But there are some examples of some sloppy play to go with that as well. So I think he's not quite there yet in terms of getting back to his best, but he's on the way to that position. Seeing him get on the score sheet and playing a crucial role in our win as the team as a whole continues to show real resilience is a massive positive, and I'm delighted to see his resurgence sort of continue to gather pace. On to the second point, and that is praise for Unai Emery and also Daniel Malen for making a crucial impact in the second half. Now, Emery wasted little time in making changes with a double swap at half-time as he brought on Ian Maatsen and Malen, and then later brought on Sancho, Barkley and Bogard as well as the second half progressed. And I thought each player played their own part in helping us turn things around and then ultimately seeing out the win. The praise starts with Emery though for making those tweaks. I thought those wrestled back control in the game and exposed the vulnerabilities that Leeds have. Yes, you can factor in the fact that they were getting tired after putting in a proper shift in that first half, but I think Emery's little tweaks and the change of personnel really made a massive difference to how the second half played out. and that's now 4 goals and an assist in 17 appearances for Malen this year. And with his tactical versatility, his off-the-ball running, and the quality that he can provide us in the final third, he's continuing to make an important difference when he's needed. So hats off to him, hats off to Emery and the entire team for coming out in the second half and turning things around. On to the third point then, and that is praise for Youri Tielemans, as his return is a massive boost for us. It was great to see him back in the starting lineup after making his comeback prior to the international break. He obviously got some more minutes with Belgium as well. Slightly disappointing in the sense that it comes at the expense of Amadou Onana, who picked up an injury issue over the break, and that disappointingly disrupts his momentum as he was starting to put together a really impressive run of form himself. However, Tielemans' tenacity, his composure, the technical ability and quality make him such an influential figure for us, and I felt as though he was undoubtedly missed during his spell on the sidelines. Yes, we did struggle in the first half on Sunday, and I think you can factor in the fact that Tielemans is still getting up to speed and settling back into the team after his spell out. But that partnership between him and Kamara in the deeper midfield pivot, once that starts to settle again, I think that will be the foundation of our push for positive results over the festive period. So fantastic to see Tielemans back starting. On to the fourth point, and that is Emi Martinez being decisive late on. Now, obviously, I'm not biased at all, but that was quite clearly a foul on Martinez in the build-up to Leeds' goal. Admittedly, he could have been stronger and he should have been stronger in claiming the ball as it looped up in front of the goal. But I imagine it's quite difficult to do that when you've got someone digging into your ribs on your way up to collect it. So fortunately though, it didn't matter. The fact that we came back and won made it irrelevant, but Martinez did make an absolutely vital save in the latter stages to preserve our lead, help us see out the win, and he does have that habit of producing decisive saves when it really matters. Now, yes, the mistakes are there and he needs to cut those out and be more consistent, and those will obviously get the headlines for those critics and those that want to point those kind of things out. But he is decisive when we need him, and he made another big save for us in this game. On to the fifth and final point, and that is on Ollie Watkins, who must keep plugging away. It had been hoped that the international break would be a perfect opportunity for Watkins to rest, recharge and regroup after what has been a really difficult start to the campaign for him. He's got 1 goal and no assists in 17 appearances so far, and so he's obviously having a tough time in front of goal, even though he's continuing to play an important role in leading the line for us with his movement, his runs in the channel, his hold-up and link-up play, all very important factors and why Emery continues to show faith in him and keep him in the starting lineup. But he will know himself and he will be feeling the frustration more than anyone that he has to start scoring goals. It was a struggle again this past weekend. I thought the timing of his runs were off. There were some decent balls played into him, but whether it was his touch or just the timing of the run was completely off, and he got closed out and the chance was gone before you knew it. He's snatching at openings. You saw a header. He had a really good chance with a header in the first half. He didn't take advantage of that. He had one really good effort from distance, just on the edge of the box, which he tried to curl in. Good effort, but not quite there with the execution. Emery and the coaching staff will no doubt try to analyse and identify ways in which he can be more effective and decisive for us moving forward. That's what they do. But the thing for Watkins on a personal level is that he has to keep on making those runs. He has to keep on getting into those good positions. And hopefully this barren run will become a thing of the past, just as the team struggles now are as well. We know how important he is as part of the team, the collective, and how we want to play. And as I say, that is why he's still being named in the starting lineup. But goals are massive. It will alleviate a lot of pressure on other players. It will make us a much more dangerous prospect to deal with if we've got that threat and that firepower up front. So fingers crossed Watkins can find some form in the next couple of games and get going. So those were the 5 key talking points from the game itself. And there was one other issue that I wanted to sort of discuss from the bigger picture, and that is in terms of Villa's window of opportunity this season. Now, I appreciate we're not that far removed from what was a really underwhelming start to the campaign, but Villa are now finding ways to win games on a consistent basis, and we're in a good place with practically a third of the season in the books. Arsenal feel as though they're on a different level this season. The defensive solidity, the quality that they added over the summer, the firepower they've got, I think they're on a different level and they look like the favourites to go on and win the title this year. But I do feel as though there's a massive level of inconsistency around us with all the other clubs that are left. And that's left us 2 points adrift of second place, despite practically not showing up in August. There are caveats. We can't rely on magic free kicks every week. We need to stay healthy. And it would help, as I say, if Watkins can rediscover his goal-scoring boots. But when you look ahead, and we've got Wolves at home on Sunday, we've got another big opportunity there to step towards solidifying ourselves in that best of the rest group behind Arsenal, heading into the festive period. And if we can establish a winning habit through our resilience and quality, as we've been showing in recent weeks and the last couple of months, what could this season deliver? Now, there's still a long way to go, obviously. There's so many variables to consider. And if you asked Emery in his pre-match press conference ahead of the Young Boys game this week, he would obviously reiterate that his focus is solely on our next game and nothing beyond that. That mentality has been a massive part of why we've been so good under him. And so that will continue, and the players have to continue to adopt that mindset. And with the focus on the other usual suspects around the Premier League, whenever they have a stuttering start to a season or poor form, as you see with Liverpool now, previously Man United, Tottenham, likes of Man City, when they've had their issues, Emery and Villa will no doubt be more than happy to continue to go under the radar and keep picking up these results. And I just wonder whether there is a big window of opportunity this season for us to sort of emerge out of that pack if we can keep this consistency going. Big if, long way to go, but certainly an intriguing aspect of what is already been a very intriguing and interesting season, given the way we started it and the way that we've recovered since. So fingers crossed we can continue on this run of form that we've been on. So as I say, that's now 9 wins in our last 11 games across all competitions. We're up to 4th in the Premier League after 12 games and sit just 2 points adrift of second spot. It's probably worth not getting too high now, as it was not getting too low during that woeful run that we had to start the season. But there are certainly positive signs continuing to emerge from Villa as we continue to find a way to win games on a consistent basis. It's Young Boys in the Europa League next before we host Wolves in the Premier League on Sunday. And so hopefully we can wrap up November in convincing fashion, 2 more wins to keep our momentum going. And then it's a refresh heading into the festive and Christmas schedule. And fingers crossed we can get through that in good shape and continue picking up these wins. I'll be back next Monday to discuss those games against Young Boys and Wolves. But until then, up the Villa.